Welcome. It's the Matic. It's the illest blerd in the land. Welcome back to Ill Blerd. Matic, welcome back, Legends community. It is the hardest working blerd on YouTube. Let's get into today's new video. Honestly, when I think about it, I'm not really surprised by it. There were some things that were a bit foreshadowing about the movie, but in what is Ill Blerd Matic talking about? Pretty much the flop of Sony Studios is another Marvel Sony Spider-Man movie based off another character, Madam Web. So we all know Madam Web flopped in the box office, but it seems like this actress and also the co-star of the movie has some words to say of the real reasons why this movie did not succeed in the box office. And I gotta say, hey, there's definitely some truth to this. So let's get into it. Emma Roberts confirms why Madam Web flopped in the box office. She blames internet culture. So Emma Roberts was on an actual podcast and was asked on why the Madam Web movie flopped in the box office, and she had a good explanation. She said the first thing was because of the internet. Even before this movie came out in theaters, a lot of hate was coming for this movie, meaning that a lot of people hated the idea of seeing a Madam Web movie. I mean, honestly, I thought it was a weird choice to do a Madam Web movie because to me, she's in fact the Morpheus of Spider-Man, if you really think about it. And I was like, how are they going to make her movie interesting enough that Marvel fans would want to go see something like this? It just didn't really reel me in, you know what I'm saying? I was like, Madam Web. I said, nah. I said, there is no way you mean to tell me y'all gonna do a movie on a blind woman in a wheelchair that is like Morpheus? Nah. That was just my honest view. And I was like, I'm used to Madam Web being an older woman, being this Morpheus-like character to Spider-Man and Spider-Woman. And I'm like, it just didn't connect with me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't resonate with me that y'all want to do a standalone movie on her character. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there are fans of Madam Web, but I'm like, Sony, are y'all sure y'all want to do this? And that's probably why some people didn't understand her, because a lot of us may have grew up on Spider-Man in the 90s and we're used to seeing her a certain type of way. So when I seen like she's like a younger Madam Web, I couldn't understand it. It didn't resonate with me. It didn't tie me in to say, oh, I'm gonna go see Madam Web now. I was like, nah. No. And maybe that was a problem, because even though there were people that hated the ideal of it, there were people that probably were skeptics. Like I was. I was like, how's that gonna work? Like, how you guys are gonna deliver this movie? I mean, okay, yeah, the trailer was somewhat cool, but it didn't like say, hey man, I'm gonna go see the movie for myself. And that was a problem. Now, the next problem that was with this movie was thanks to TikTok. She also confirms that TikTok ruined people from seeing the movie because people were giving their reviews on it. And in most cases, if they didn't like the film, that meant that those people that looked at those reviews on social media, even if it is TikTok, pretty much detoured them from seeing the movie, because they took their opinions, their perspective or take on the movie, and maybe that discouraged them from seeing the movie. That's why it probably was another Sony flop movie. Besides Morbius, And you know what? That is also a problem because if people are so into your opinions, and I'm not saying that that's it's also has its pros and cons because that shows you that you're not interested in the movie because you're going by the person that's critiquing the movie. Now, I did see Madam Web recently on Netflix because I did not go see this in theaters because I knew I was not gonna pay my cash for this movie. And honestly, I wasn't impressed with the movie. I'll be honest with you. It was dope in a way when it came to the visuals. The visuals reminded me of Doctor Strange, a revenge story, but it was too Tom and Jerry for me. It kind of gave me Home Alone vibes. And it just to me just seemed like Sony just were like, hey, let's see if we can make this character popular like Miles Morales or Gwen. And I'm like, nah, Sony. Stop it, Sony. This was a one watch. I wouldn't even go see this movie. I wouldn't even go back to Netflix to watch this movie. So to me, the movie wasn't something that was great. Casting, chemistry was there, decent villain, but I just wasn't invested in the idea of a Madam Web movie. The other problem with it too was I felt like the other characters, the trailer was a bit misleading because I thought these other characters were heroines were gonna be having powers, and honestly, that was misleading too. So, yeah, I didn't really enjoy it, you know. But this goes to show you that Sony has a problem. You guys are making flop movies. Is this the game that you're going at? It's like, hey, look, Morbius flopped, Madam Web flopped. You know what I'm saying? And I know they got a Craven Hunter movie coming out. And I'm like, y'all sure y'all want to do some more Spider-Man character movies? I mean, the only one that's really been successful, and I got to throw that out there, is Venom. And that's only because Venom is a popular Spider-Man villain. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess Emma Roberts had high expectations. She thought the movie was going to do really good. She had a good time filming the movie with her co-stars. And maybe she really was hoping to see a sequel for the movie. And maybe that's why she was disappointed that internet culture pretty much destroyed the success of Madam Web. I mean, to me, it just wasn't interesting enough for me to say, oh man, y'all should do another movie. I was like, no, they don't even need to do another movie. I just was like, this is not it. But I guess she had to realize that she has to accept the L. The movie wasn't successful. It was a flop. She'll just have to move on and move forward from it and take the L. The other thing is, maybe this just wasn't something that fans wanted to see. That's my other take on this. But it's a blur. Living the word, guys. You tell me in the comments. Do you think the internet destroyed Madam Web's success? And my next question for you guys: if you have seen Madam Web, how did you feel about the movie? What is your take on the movie? It is a blur. Living the word, guys. Thank you so much for commenting, liking, subscribing, watching, and also sharing the video. And I am out. Legends, have a wonderful day, and I'm out.